This video is sponsored by Aura, the all-in-one security for your finances, identity, and devices. Want to welcome back one of our favorite guests, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Congresswoman, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Sean. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I want to get into this whole Mar-a-Lago thing, what you guys talked about and what you see as the agenda going forward. But there's two things that I want to get your take on. I was excited about you coming back on. And then I saw this headline yesterday about your ideas for addressing some of the things in LA in terms of the fires. Can you explain what you think could be an option out there?
Well, I think there's a lot of options. Number one, California needs to be more about competency when they vote for their leaders instead of their sexual orientation or their skin color or whatever fits their DEI requirements. And that really goes to Californians. You guys need to vote better. And if you vote better, you get better results. And the rest of the country is cheering for you. We really don't want to see your cities and neighborhoods burned down. We'd love to see your forests cleared. We'd love to see your water reservoirs full, and they should be. And we'd love to see your taxes come down and life be more affordable to live in California. So that's up to you guys in California to do that. Just the other day, I tweeted or posted a very snarky post, and I said, why don't they just do some sort of geoengineering or cloud seeding to bring some rain to California? Sean, it's been interesting. Myself and my staff and some others here on the Hill have done a little investigating into our government's funding and really leadership into geoengineering. It's not a secret. It's not a conspiracy theory. And it's done all over the world.
This video is sponsored by Aura, the all-in-one security for your finances, identity, and devices. How many spam texts, emails, phone calls have you gotten lately? I know the other day I got one telling me that a package was waiting for me. I just needed to click a link. Think about that. Every time that one of these happens, someone is trying to get your data. They're trying to breach your data. But the big question that I always ask is, how do they get it in the first place? What public information is out there? Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. There's a solution. Aura will help you remove your information from data brokers, search sites, so that people can't keep selling your data, giving it to identity thieves and scammers. They have a VPN that will protect your internet connection with military-grade encryption. It also blocks scams and phishing sites for added protection. They've got 100 virtual locations, so you can access global content securely and safely, whether you're on the go or at home. I've got this all now in one app for an affordable price. I'm not leaving my family or myself vulnerable to these data breaches anymore. You can go to aura.com/Spicer, Aura, AURA.com/Spicer to try it for free for 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, Aura can tell you what public information is out there to protect you. So go to aura.com/Spicer, AURA.com/Spicer. Yeah, and it's done all over the world. Like this idea, cloud seeding is basically when they manipulate condensation in clouds and try to get it to come down, right? But was your point more to say, hey, if you guys are spending a ton of money on this, utilize it, or were you advocating as a method to address LA currently?
It was not a specific. It was more of me. I guess I'm poking the system, right?
Right.
The system that constantly calls all of us conspiracy theories when we talk about the truth and reality. And that was really the tone of that post. But sadly, people are the victim of all types of geoengineering, and they shouldn't be. And geoengineering could be used for good. And in this case, maybe to put out California wildfires. But the reality is, tragically, many people's homes and businesses are being burned. And it's really the fault of the irresponsible leadership in California that didn't do anything to prevent this and didn't have systems in place to fight these fires when they break out. And another thing, Sean, we can't ignore the fact that this is very likely arson. It's not climate change. The climate is not changing and sparking fires all over the place randomly. These are people that are probably lighting these fires, whether they're climate change activists or perhaps terrorists that have come across our wide open border in the past 4 years.
So you guys in Georgia experienced a massive, horrible natural disaster that wreaked havoc on so many people. And I look at the people in California, and I agree with you. There's got to be accountability for poor leadership. The idea that fire hydrants weren't working, that reservoirs weren't ready to go. Like Gavin Newsom's been in public office since I was in diapers. The idea that these guys weren't ready for this is a lack of competence. That's the bottom line. You contrast this with Ron DeSantis, your governor, Brian Kemp. But here's my thing. The people who live there, I feel bad for them. I cannot fathom what it's like to lose all of your worldly possessions and, your community to go up in flames just because you have, horrible leadership, et cetera. That being said, there's a big discussion on the Hill about how to support them from a federal standpoint. Mike Johnson has floated this idea that there's got to be some accountability, right? Because we're not just going to give them money and then have them do the same stupid policies. A lot of folks, Hakeem Jeffries came out today and said, we're not even considering that, right? Where is that line between wanting to support people on a human level to get them the help they need and saying, hey guys, like if you're going to keep doing stupid things, we're not going to give you all the money?
It's very simple. And this is how it's going to be, Sean. This country is about to see and feel a complete change in leadership for the entire country, the United States of America. And that's going to happen on Monday, the 20th, when President Trump is inaugurated and his entire administration comes into play. So that's number one. That's the start. Number two, what we're going to do, and we just discussed this in our conference meeting this morning, and we've been discussing it in many of our meetings, is we're going to wait for a request from the state of California. And then Russ Vought, the new OMB director, will be in his job upcoming very soon. And we will work with the administration. Congress will work with the administration on the appropriations request for California. And if we have to set guidelines in place, basically putting rules on California, forcing them to be responsible for their citizens for any future fires, such as maintaining water reservoirs so fire hydrants are never empty, such as clearing their forest floors so that there isn't just dry wood and debris laying around easily for any arsonist or any campfire to get out of control. We may have to do things like that until the good people of California can vote and change their leadership. And I really think they want to, Sean. I think the good people of California are realizing that voting because they like someone or voting for someone because it makes them feel charitable and like they're doing a good thing has really led their state to disaster. And we look forward to seeing people in California, because so many of them are so smart and good-hearted. We look forward to seeing them change the leadership in their state, and Congress will be here waiting their requests. And if we have to appropriate money for them, we want to do it responsibly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, there's so many times, like this has just shown like a big light on competence. Like if you're going to elect someone to do a job, you might want to make sure they actually can do it. But I liked what you said just a minute ago, or at least how you phrased it, because you said, we're waiting for California to tell us what we need. I remember after the recent natural disaster, the hurricanes that went through North Carolina, Congress, someone just threw out, we're going to send them $100 billion. And I'm like, wow, that's just such a perfectly round number. How did you randomly come up with that? And I feel like after these things, there's like a bidding war to see who can care about people the most by throwing out the biggest number, as opposed to saying, do the math, right? When you have kids, the teacher always says, show me your math, show me how you came up with this problem, because you want them to fundamentally understand how to do it. And I feel like too often Congress's response is, let me just pick a number out of thin air and throw it out there that shows that I care, as opposed to, show me your math. Tell me what it's going to take to rebuild. What are you guys contributing? What are you going to change? And then what do you need us to do? And I think the way you phrased it is the way that things should be. I want to help you, but tell me what you need, as opposed to us in Washington just sending you out a boatload of money to spend.
That's right. No, that's right, Sean. And the other thing we really care about is we don't want to just send money to California where Gavin Newsom decides he's going to rebuild LA in some way that benefits his governorship or future Olympics that's coming to California. That would be incredibly wasteful and it wouldn't help the people of California. We don't want Gavin Newsom and Democrats controlling that state to use the money appropriated for the victims of wildfire to use it to house illegal aliens or somehow affect their future elections in California so that they never lose, which seems to be the situation as it is. But we'll definitely wait, and we'll be happy to work with them. We just want to make sure it benefits the victims of wildfire.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.